first question, James, today it just got announced you guys won a $140 million order from the Department of Defense. So congratulations on that. And it's for patient engagement. So tell us, for that, I mean, where do where does digitization, DocuSign, all that fit into what you're going to do for the DoD?
Well, a big part of winning that award was all around making life as easy as possible for the servicemen and women, their families, as they look to engage in the medical system. And I think this is just a great illustration of what I think is so important about business generally. I think so many industries, really all industries today, the competition is intensifying, it's speeding up. You've got to be able to continue to evolve the way you organize your business, serve your customers, streamline your process, rip out complexity. If you do that, you're going to drive costs out of your system, and you're going to end up with a more satisfied set of customers. So it's very much a part of that overall thread that underpins, frankly, everything we do at McKesson.
That's great. And so Schmitty, 6x increase in shareholder value. First of all, tell us how you did that. And second of all, you got to keep it going, obviously. And what role does DocuSign play on keeping that going?
Thanks. The heart of the growth story here has been through innovation and customer service. We launched and have launched for about 10 years now, 60 to 75 new products every year for our customers around the world. The second thing is we're really focused, like most companies are, on customer service. So DocuSign will be integral in our story going forward, hopefully going from $14 billion to our aspiration of $40 billion. Anytime I can improve the customer experience, that drives revenue for us. And a great example, we recently revamped the entire onboarding process for a vertical that's very important to us around the world. That's the automotive vertical. And a part of that revamping of that process was DocuSign, bringing the onboarding process from months to days. And digitization of that process was a vital step in improving customer service to drive growth in the automotive sector. The second thing is innovation. Innovation takes capital. We're a technology company, so we need capital to invest. Anytime I can automate processes like the one improve we just talked about, to take inefficiencies and cost out, take that capital, it's like found money, and reinvest back in growth as opposed to inefficient processes. That's a win for my customers and my shareholders.
Got it. So it's a lever you just keep
levering it.
Keep doing it. Mm-hmm. So, Don, speaking of kind of onboard, McDonald's has so many people working for it. How many people they have? How many people get onboarded a year at McDonald's? And what's that process look like in role of DocuSign?
Well, it's about, so McDonald's, on an average day, McDonald's serves about 70-odd million customers a day. There's about 2 million people that are part of that McDonald's family globally. They work for franchisees and the company, so it's combined. In the U.S. alone, there's 700, 800,000 people per year that, because it's more of a transient workforce, a part-time workforce for the most part.
Well, say that again. How many you onboard a year?
It's somewhere right around 800,000 people.
Wow. How about that?
Most people come in and then, they're with McDonald's because they're part-time, most of them. So they're with McDonald's for a year and then they'll go out. The folks that end up staying with McDonald's clearly that's a smaller percentage of that overall. But what DocuSign does is, I talked about the real estate side, but when you're onboarding that many people and you've got everything from offer letters to basic orientation signups, benefits signups, non-disclosures, confidentiality agreements, all of those things before, you end up with a stack of paper for each person that's like this. So DocuSign has really helped in terms of streamlining the process, but I would say even more so, you get all the documents in one place.
Yep.
and you can access all the documents rather quickly. So it's been a really, really great assist to McDonald's in terms of the entire HR protocol and process from hiring all the way through to benefits compensation.
Wow, that's amazing. Let me ask this next question to James. So from the CFO perspective at McKesson, obviously you're focused on the bottom line, you're focused on the ROI. What else do you look at in terms of your digital transformation? What's important to you as the CFO of McKesson?
Well, three things I will point to. The first of which would be the security of the digitization. Obviously, that is becoming more and more of an issue for every company around the world. At McKesson, we have more than our fair share of very sensitive information, health records, social security numbers, you name it. And so that has to be absolutely paramount in terms of the reliability of the security of the systems, the technologies that you're utilizing. Second, somewhat related, the availability of the technology. The platform has to be up all of the time. We are handling around a third of the pharmaceuticals consumed across North America and Western Europe. People will get upset if our service slows down, if we're not able to get those drugs to the pharmacies or the hospitals at exactly the right time that we need to be able to do that. So that's enormously important. I mentioned just briefly in my first answer this notion of process and improving process. But I think really importantly, this all ends up in better employee engagement. So I think that is really essential to driving a corporation forward as we look to deploy more technologies and so forth. And what I'm getting at there, and I think DocuSign is a great example of this, is if you can provide people with the tools and the capabilities to allow them to get their work done more swiftly, frankly more enjoyably, because tracking down all of that paperwork and trying to find the lost component of that paper stream.
Do you have a lot of paper at McKesson?
It's not a lot of fun. Yeah, we have a little bit. And I really think that as we continue to push people to be more productive, that's very much an outgrowth of the competitive realities of the environment in which we do business. We've got to be able to provide the tools and techniques that allow people to feel good about their job.
Right.
And I think DocuSign absolutely streamlines, simplifies, speeds up a lot of what goes on around an office day to day. And that will, frankly, lead to more satisfied employees who will stick with you, be more creative, focus better on their customers. Good things happen.
How about that from a CFO perspective?
Well said.
All right. So, Schmitty, you've deployed 20 use cases at Equifax. And you can tell when I was in front of your team and said, Schmitty, okay. And now, how did you initially get to that decision? And then how did you make the decision to standardize on DocuSign globally? Tell us a little bit about that.
I alluded to that a little bit early on. It was a little bit, James and I both talked about it. It was just too much analysis at first. And then finally made the decision that Keith, as a leader, has touched a lot of great things. And most things he's touched have turned out well, and I trusted him. He also gave me some great references. And we talked to some CFOs and CEOs who had deployed DocuSign and the experience they had. You'd be proud to hear what they said, because they obviously heap praise on all the great things that you hear about DocuSign in their respective companies. And it really was intervening at one point in time saying, hey, this will be the standard. It was tops down. We're no longer going to focus on an ROI. But the belief of automating processes around the world that are massively inefficient today, your instinct is what? The processes will be better off and you'll save money and be able to reinvest that money, as I talked about, back in growth. So it literally has become, we started off with Keith, as you know, looking at one particular segment of one particular operation in one particular country. And once we got that win on the board, that quickly became a pull versus a Rick Smith pushing. And as I said before, Peru, it's now gone to 26 countries around the world without Rick Smith, the CEO, having to mandate that push. That's pretty cool.
How about that for a docu-story there at Equifax?